MeTV is America's #1 classic TV entertainment network, airing over 60 of the greatest TV series every week. Now, MeTV presents The Golden Girls of Summer, showcasing the best of the Golden Girls. Watch Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia weeknights on MeTV at 10 p.m. 9 Central. Log on to MeTV.com now to find out where to watch MeTV free over the air and on cable, satellite, and select streaming services. MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Yay Networks.
Welcome to another episode of A Sandwich and Some Lovin'. I'm Kellie Raspberry Evans. And guess who's not with me tonight? My husband, A-Train, in the house, as he would say. I'm just doing that as a little homage to my husband, Alan Evans, who is actually in Fort Worth, Texas, at a club called Billy Bob's. And he's watching a country music artist named Hardy. If you've never heard of Hardy before, check him out. You'll really like him. And of course, I was going to tell Alan he could go do that tonight and leave the podcasting to the professional. That'd be me. Don't tell him I said that. All right. But I did not want to do this by myself. Every once in a while, I have done it by myself, but it's always a lot more fun when I have somebody here to talk to and to bounce things off of. But, tonight I've invited somebody that you may have heard me talk about before, but it's been a minute since we've seen each other. I used to work out at her gym, and then I didn't work out at a gym because you know how I am. I'm kind of wishy-washy when it comes to working out. I get really committed and I do great. And then, I self-sabotage. Let's be honest. I self-sabotage. And then coronavirus happened. Then I had a built-in excuse to lay around and be a slub all the time. But you know what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're coming out of this. So I've invited my friend and trainer. She's my trainer. You can still be my trainer, even though I haven't trained with you in a while. Stephany Acosta from Elevate Fitness in Dallas. Stephany, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is super exciting. And yes,
thank you.
I will always be your trainer.
Always. And Stephany, I said, I know you're a healthy person and everything, but every once in a while I have a little something while we're doing the podcast. And she said, well, Kellie, I'd love to join you, but I only drink champagne. I said, well, guess what? I, honest to goodness, happen to have a bottle chilled. What a coincidence. And so we're actually enjoying a little glass of bubbly. So this podcast could take an entirely different turn from what we intend, but the intent of this podcast with Stephany, look, a lot of us last year, 2020 was a disaster, not just for our, a lot of businesses, our mental health destroyed, and our bodies. Come on. What did you do? I know what I did. I was telling Stephany, at first when literally a year ago, it was a year ago this week when everything started shutting down so completely. And at first, if you were like me, you thought this is only going to be a minute. This is going to be a minute, a few weeks, right? Didn't you? And
2 weeks,
two or 3 weeks tops, maybe a month. And that was being negative, waiting for a month. And at first I was really kind of okay with it because it did feel temporary. But then I think a depression set in, and I was telling Stephany, I napped a lot and I wasn't working out. And I was so envious of the people that buckled down over quarantine. You saw all the success stories of people emerging 50, 60, 70 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
And just new people. But I think they were the exception and not the rule, Stephany. I think a lot of people with depression or whatever reason just kind of let themselves go a little bit.
I absolutely agree with that.
And now here we are coming out of it, and now we're left undoing not just the damage on the scale, but our minds too.
Yeah. Our
And
emotions, our emotional health. Yeah.
it's
all of it.
hard. And to make the decision, okay, like we all do, I'm going to start Monday, right? We all going to start Monday. And so we go balls to the wall, everything we can shove in our face, because Monday I'm starting. I'm even going to go to the gym on Monday, and then something happens Monday and it never comes. So I guess, Stephany, what I'm going to ask you to start off with is, how do you find the motivation, to just get back in there and do something? For a lot of us, I think we're just in this bad mental state. It's hard to snap out of it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I think one of the things is to, it's really important to realize what it is where your starting point is, or where you're actually starting from, and then making realistic goals from where you're starting to create that long-term success. I think a lot of people, just like you said, people are like, "Oh my God, I have to get back into the gym. I have to, really focus on this. And on Monday, I'm going to start it." And you get in this mental place of feeling an obligation to do it because
Mhm.
of course, you get the information that it's important for your health. Social media plays a part in it because you start to see other people that are maybe in a different road path, but because it's something that you aspire to be, now you feel the pressure of wanting to go in that direction as well. And so you're trying to create this plan for this, but the question is the plan that you have in your head, is it really successful? Is it creating long-term success for
Is it
you?
sustainable?
Is it sustainable? Exactly. And most people do not think that far. They just think, this is what I have to do and I got to get it done now. And that
Yeah.
immediate pressure, the pressure of feeling like I have to do this or else there's going to be consequences, you're
Yeah.
already putting yourself in a position for failure, because that pressure, it never does well in the long,
Yeah.
especially in the long term. It never does well in the long term. And for a lot of people, it really isn't something that serves them well. And they don't even realize it because they've just been in the rat race of thinking that way for such a long time.
Yeah, because it's like if this was like any other year, January, we're still kind of in the throes of it. What happens at the gym? It's you can't get in there. The regulars are ticked off because all these newbies come along. We're like, that's okay. By February, they'll all be gone again.
Exactly.
And that really happens
Yeah.
because we all want to be that person. We want to be the one that's on that treadmill lifting weights. And I look back at videos that you used to take of me, and I mean, I feel like, man, I'm struggling. This is so hard. And then one day it's not as hard. And then one day, dang, my arms look kind of good in that video, and it does it. I think when it doesn't happen immediately, that we feel like, oh, it's not working. And so I quit.
Absolutely.
And, and we also go so extreme at it. It's like all or nothing. It's like, okay, I'm not going to, like my husband, he decided I'm going to cut out, not right now. This is a past thing. I'm cutting out all soft drinks, sugar, caffeine, and carbohydrates. I'm like, who can do that and sustain it, you
How happy
know?
was he in the process of doing it?
And we didn't stick to it very long
Exactly.
either, you know?
Forget about sticking to it. You got to remember, what is it that got him to the point of even quitting? It was how he felt in the process of it,
Yeah.
right? He was tired. He was moody. He was
You get a
snappy. And it was
headache
just like
because
at
of
some point, you're
the
like, I don't want to do
detox.
this anymore.
Yeah, and so I think it's when we try to just go so extreme that's when we set ourselves up for failure. And that's what I liked about working out with you is like I just told you I've worked out with trainers in the past where I could not move. It's not usually the day after, it's 2 days after, right? Because the lactic acid or something, and I couldn't get off the toilet. I'd be in so much pain. And I'm like, I don't like that feeling. But with you, I never felt that way. I always had like I could feel it in my muscles, but not where I couldn't, get up out of bed. So when you're starting with someone who's from scratch like me,
Hmm.
I mean, what is your thought process? And you want them to do something where they feel it and they don't feel defeated, where it's over their head. And somebody like me, like I don't think I'm a good client. I know I'm not a good client. So to work with somebody like me, I mean, I'm negative. I just, and it's hard to work with someone like me, but your job is to make me do it anyway.
I think that's essentially it for those people that feel called to be in the industry of fitness. We're not just trainers; we
You're a
are
therapist.
therapists. Yeah,
You are a
and
therapist.
part of it is being able to identify your client and where your client is at, and meeting them there, and then pushing them a little bit past that area of where they're at outside of their comfort zone, to where at the end of the day, no matter what, they're going to appreciate it. Maybe they don't like it in that moment,
Mhm.
but they're going to appreciate it, because think about it, when we are at the end of our day, we're processing everything that we've gone through, right? We're processing how work went. We're processing, the coworker that we spoke to. We're processing the challenge that we had to overcome. And then comes the workout session. And no matter what, if you're able to push that client just the right amount, if you're able to challenge them the right amount, physically, mentally, and emotionally, they're going to process that in the evening and be like, yeah, you know what? That was a good one. Like,
Yeah,
it was tough, but I feel like I got something done, or I felt
yeah.
really great after.
I've never regretted going. I've often been like, God, I gotta go. But I've never left, man, I'm so upset I went. No, I'm always glad I went. But it's just a matter of just doing it. just doing it. And I think that's half the battle, getting in there and having a good trainer that knows how to motivate you and not, because I mean, some of these moves I see people do, I'm like, how the hell can you get to that point? But some things I'm just physically incapable of doing, and that's up to the trainer to kind of
To be able to determine that.
determine that, but to also know when you're just being negative and you can do it anyway.
Absolutely, that's
You
a fine line.
know,
And again, that's part of the experience of therapy and the experience
right?
of training. You're mixing the two, because part of, we're not just training you physically, and this happens to be the company motto, but the truth is any good trainer is going to realize you're training somebody physically, mentally, emotionally. There are going to be some days where they're just not mentally in it, and you have to adjust for that. Then there's going to be other days that they're just in a bad mental spot, and you got to teach them how to get out of it and help them see, like, look, if you come to this mental level, you're going to see how much better this serves you than being right here. So you got to
Yeah,
be able to
it
determine
does
the
make a
two.
huge difference. I'll tell you, I kind of briefly touched on this. I think the last podcast, I just had a moment, and my husband, I don't know that I want him to hear me talk about it, but I feel like I don't know if I'm going through a midlife crisis, because when you think midlife crisis for a lot of people, it's like, the men start unbuttoning their shirts down the belly button and wearing chains and getting the convertible. And for a woman, I don't know, maybe she, decides I'm leaving the marriage and the kids and I'm going to go out to the clubs. I'm not in that state of midlife crisis, but I think I'm kind of like just in a funk. And I don't know if that's because I'm about to have my 54th birthday. I don't lie about my age. What am I going to do about it? Maybe it's part of that. I've never really been upset about my age before, but I don't know. I just feel like my body, I can almost sense certain changes in it, but my spirit's just down. It's just not the same as it used to be. And I'm trying to give myself a break, because I know a lot of it is hormonal.
Mhm.
But like yesterday, for instance, I didn't have anything to do all day. My appointments got canceled. So after I got off the radio in the morning, I just kind of laid around all day in my pajamas. And I felt so negative. So finally I said, I've got to do something. And I got up and I went and organized some drawers, and I immediately felt better.
Mhm.
And it wasn't that I was doing anything, like I wasn't jogging, I wasn't lifting weights, but I was just doing something. And so there is a connection. And I don't know if is something getting stirred up in your body, like endorphin wise, or is it just a mental thing? Just the fact that I got up off the couch and just started cleaning out a closet, I instantly felt better.
I've actually heard psychologists talk about when they listen to people talk about depression or talk about like anxiety, having these type of disorders. Some psychologists have asked or have said one of the first questions they ask them is, "What is your purpose? What is it that you do to feel purposeful?" And I think that a lot of the times when we don't have any type of goal that we're working towards,
Mhm.
whether it be direct, like a broad goal, or even small day-to-day goals, that can mess with our mental ability. That can
Yeah.
mess with our mental and emotional health. And a lot of it really has to do with getting neurons within your brain to fire. We
Was I
have
firing neurons just by getting up and doing something?
Yes, because it causes you to think. And if we have the ability to think, which then gives us problem solving capabilities, that helps us function better as humans.
Mm.
So that's one of the things, that's even one of the reasons why they recommend exercise for people that do have depression and do have anxiety, is because one of the things that it does with your brain is it helps strengthen your prefrontal cortex, which sits right in here, right behind your eye. And your prefrontal cortex has to do with your executive decision making skills. When you're strengthening that then in return strengthens the other part of your brain that's called the amygdala. The amygdala is part of your emotional control and your emotional reaction. Then
Okay,
from
that's
the
so funny that you brought that up. You're the second person I've heard use that word. The other one was Leanne Locken on Real Housewives of Dallas. She was talking about
Brenda.
her amygdala or something,
Mhm.
and she was in therapy and she was ringing gongs and stuff, but she was talking about the amygdala, and it was really affecting her moods.
Yes. And
You're the second wow,
And a
okay.
lot of people, and so when you're exercising, you're actually strengthening those there's a third part of the brain actually called the hippocampus, and the hippocampus has to do with memory. So all of those work together. Those are three major parts of the brain that whenever we're not working out, they stop functioning.
And I think a lot of people, with quarantine and stuff, we laid around for so long that it kind of became a habit.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, I'm just ready to come out of this funk. So
Yeah,
I'm,
and that's probably one of the things as a fitness expert that really upset me is that you had people who had influence on news media really talk more about staying at home and staying safe
yeah,
and not even giving directions on what that looks like, right? Like you can work out at home. They would talk about exercising outside, but they talked more about staying at home and
yeah,
staying
and
safe
scared
than they
everybody.
did and scared than telling people like go out and at least be active during this time while social distancing from people, staying safe from others, but get some activity going because it's not only good for your body, it's good for your brain. And
Yeah,
we got put in a situation where our whole world got turned upside down in a second. It
yeah,
wasn't a gradual thing that we got prepared for. It was a 1 month, this virus is here. The next month, this is a serious thing. The third month, we need to close the country down. And then that third month turned into 2 months of the country being
mm-hmm,
like, there's going to be repercussions that come with that.
yeah.
And there wasn't enough information for people to really see the importance of it. It was more about, well, I need to stay home. And as a result, you stay home, you're not what can you do? Like,
Mhm.
what are you focusing on?
Well, I know you had to, I love the word pivot. That became the big buzzword, with 2020. And so you had to, because you're a gym and all the gyms shut down.
Mhm.
So how were you able to stay connected to your clients over, that period? Now the gyms are starting to open back up.
Yeah,
You can work out safely now. And so
absolutely.
were you doing like a lot of video
So
on
we were,
demand?
yeah, we actually we switched a lot. We switched to virtual. I was very thankful to be able to pivot that very quickly. And essentially we took a hit. I would say, the first week, I think, whenever we shut down, we had maybe 25 appointments for the week. And we were trying to get people like, hey, you could still work out online. We'll train you. People were not having it. But,
Yeah.
I think it said a lot about, I think, the business and what we do. When 2 weeks later we had people that were just like, okay, I gotta work out.
Sneak me in. Sneak
Count
me in.
me in, please.
Pull the blinds. Nobody will see us.
Yeah, yeah. And we, like we switched to virtual for many people. There were definitely a couple people we made the exception of coming in and just keeping it safe, like one client in at the gym. But no, people wanted to work out. So I think it said a lot about the quality of our programming
Yeah.
where people were just like, yeah, I'm missing this for 2 weeks. I kind of need it because I'm going nuts.
Yeah, because you're more of like you're not like one of these big gyms where there's 100 people in there and you're fighting to get on a treadmill.
Yeah.
You're more
No.
of, I guess you'd call yourself a
It's a
boutique
brick and
gym.
mortar boutique gym. Yeah. And we never really had to worry about we never had to worry about the capacity because we never operate
Yeah.
in 100%. We don't even operate under 50%. Like
Yeah.
we have maybe at most 10 people in that gym on a super busy day. It's
Yeah.
really just service only. We're about servicing the clients, and it made it real easy for me to just control appointments for the sake of keeping people safe. So I'm really thankful that, once we were able to open back up, it wasn't a big, we were able to adjust very well. And
Yeah.
there weren't any like rocks, or it wasn't hard for us to switch over our model.
And a
So
lot of people, I think it's really helpful when you can, double up and have a friend work out. So you do a lot of that where that one trainer can train two people in one session.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's probably the maximum. If you get to like three, it's just probably too much, right?
So I think 3 is probably the max,
Yeah.
because of the space of the gym. So,
Mhm.
we have the ability to fit 3 people in one space where they're able to, have that distance apart from each other. And then if there's anybody else training, they're not really going to get in the way. So we keep it at 3 max for the partner training.
Okay, I've never seen three people work out together, but
Yeah,
that'd be a fun thing to do because you can. I don't know. There's certain exercises you can do with two or three people that would be fun and
for
maybe keep it
sure.
interesting.
For sure.
And see,
There's so many exercises in the database of
yeah,
exercises. It's like if you have that in your memory, it's like you can just spit stuff out.
well, it's
Like, you
fun
do
because
this.
y'all try to mix it up, and it's like you're not doing the same thing every day. You want to keep it interesting because well, not only do I think it get kind of boring and repetitive, but is it true that your body can get used to it? So you have to kind of
Yes, there's
you
the
have to
adaptive phase.
confuse your body or something like
Yeah,
that.
so muscle confusion is so that whenever you get soreness, basically what you're getting is it's called hypertrophy. So it's basically when you've stressed the muscle out to the point of it tearing. And so when you tear, when it tears, that's where that soreness comes from.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's an actual good thing. Yeah, because whenever it repairs itself, it repairs stronger, which means that you could probably do that same movement a week or two later and you're not going to get as sore from it because now your body has adapted to the stress of it.
Mm.
So that's an actual good thing. And I forgot where I was going with that. But essentially, we try to keep it to where we're mixing it up. We're helping people mentally and emotionally because it's about, we're at a point right now where we can't keep like still for like a second. It's like we need
Mhm.
some type of stimulation. So we try to keep it from that degree. But then also the other thing that's really important is paying attention to biomechanics. So you shouldn't be going hard with working out if you still essentially have things going on, imbalances going on in the body that you haven't addressed. And because of the time and age that we're in right now, where we mostly sit down, we drive in a car, we sit on the couch once we're done with work, like we have
Mhm.
so much muscle imbalance that needs to get addressed that if you don't address that, you're essentially going to injure yourself when trying to work out because those your muscles aren't firing properly. You're not
Yeah.
doing the exercises correctly.
Alan and I have been having so much fun talking with our podcast family on stereo. It's like an extension of a sandwich and some love and a little bonus party for all of our podcast family because unlike, our regular podcast, which we record, um, we actually get to talk to you. You can talk to Alan and me in real time and we can answer your questions. I'm going to tell you, last week we had so much fun. And this coming week on the Stereo app, you're going to hear us on the road in our RV, and that's going to be highly entertaining. And I want to make sure you're there for it. So, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, make sure you're joining us on Stereo. If you have not done so yet, go download the Stereo app. It's absolutely free to do so. And then you follow me at Kellie Raspberry, follow Alan at the Alonzo 1971. And that's it. You'll get a little notification when we're about to go live. And there's a little button right there. You just hold it down. You can ask us anything. You can make a comment. You can, tell us a great dad joke, whatever you want. It's up to you. And you can be part of the conversation on Stereo. Again, that's this Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central. Follow me at Kellie Raspberry and at the Alonzo 1971. And we'll see you then on Stereo. And I seem to remember that our very first session, it was like an evaluation of what I was capable of.
Yes.
It wasn't, you just didn't just throw me into, okay, go give me 20 of this and 20 of that. You were evaluating my range of motion and like, the way I squatted. You were looking at the way my knees and what was it you were looking for? It's like the way my legs turned and
We were looking at, so we're looking at your feet patterns, we're looking at your knees, how they rotate, we're looking at your hips and how it rotates, we're looking at your upper body and what's going on with the spine, whether it's going down too low, it's rounding, it's arching. So all of those micro mechanics, those are things that we take advantage of as people in everyday life, right? Like when we get out of a chair, we're not thinking about, oh, I should be activating my glutes when I stand up. But it's because of the fact that we don't think about mechanics that it can affect movement as a whole, and if we're not addressing those little things now, when you get to 70, 80 years old, that's what happens when you break a hip
Yeah.
or, when something happens to your shoulder or your knee. So those are the things that we look at and we kind of explain it to you. We get a little sciencey in that regard where we tell you, hey, these are the muscles that are tight on your body. As a result, these muscles are not firing properly.
or some muscles will overcompensate maybe.
Yes, exactly. There's overcompensation, and then there is imbalance where muscles just don't fire as good as they should.
And also, I guess if you do an exercise, I mean, it's great, but it's important to do it right because if you do an exercise wrong, is it even worth doing it?
No, actually, it's going to cause you to have injury later on. If you don't have it right then and there, it will over time cause injury.
Okay.
So whenever people have, you have people that squat improperly for years.
Blow your knee out if you squat wrong, right?
Blow your knee out, blow your back out. There's so many things. And maybe it won't happen right then and there. But if you're doing it improperly over time, when you get to that age where things just start to fall apart, you're like, oh my God, I have constant chronic back pain and I don't
Yeah.
understand why.
And I think this is important. Why, I know a lot of people do, at home programs and stuff, and they just go to the gym and work out on their own. But how do you even know you're doing it wrong unless you have a professional trainer that's guiding you?
Absolutely.
So we want to,
That's the key.
and it's
right
also
there.
like if you've ever worked out of a trainer before and you've like, nobody ever looked to see how I was squatting or kneeling. Well, maybe you need to teach us, Stephany, how to interview. Or is it possible for a client to interview a trainer? Is that something you do? Can you go into somebody and say, I'm auditioning you to train me? Is that too pretentious? I want to get to that in a second. But first, I know Stephany knows what I'm about to talk about right here. Theragun.
Oh my gosh.
You utilize this a lot in
It's a life
your
changer.
right, isn't it? Now, I was telling our audience before, I don't assume you listen to every podcast I do, Stephany, but just in case, for the rest of you, I used to go to the gym and I'd see these handheld percussion devices. And one of my friends would actually pay a trainer to use it on her because that was separate from the workout. And I was like, dang, those things must be like, those are really expensive. But then I found out you could get these things at home, and I found out the Theragun, it was really a life changer. I love that I don't have to go to the gym to use it, even though Stephany has one at her gym as well.
Mhm.
But the Gen 4 Theragun that Alan and I use, we love it so much because it really gets to the source of the pain. It releases that tension using percussive therapy. And the Gen 4, it goes 60% deeper than just vibration alone. So, what I also love about the Theragun Gen 4 is it holds a charge forever. I don't have to constantly recharge the battery. I love the battery life on it. I also love that this is adjustable. So if Alan's not here to get that certain spot, the head of it, I guess it bends, it clicks, and I can get to those problem
Yourself.
spots.
Yeah.
It has the interchangeable heads. Sometimes I like a rounder head. Sometimes I want more of a sharper point. I don't mean it's sharp, but it's like an arrow almost, but a round, soft one. And it really gets in those knots underneath my shoulder blades. I've used it on my what are these above my knee in the back? What's that?
Your
Hamstrings?
hamstring. Yeah, absolutely. You have
Hamstrings.
tight hamstrings.
I
Those are,
do.
yeah, that
I've
does
been always told I
wonders.
have tight what bands? Something bands I have.
Your
that are tight.
adductors,
Something bands.
the inner or the outer?
Outer.
Your abductors.
I have tight abductors, and percussion therapy helps with that too.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get Stephany to talk more about that in a minute because it's really important to keep those loose. But if you are looking for an at-home percussion therapy a device, Alan and I'm sure Stephany will agree with me.
Absolutely, I
We
would vouch
recommend
for
the
it.
Gen 4 Theragun. Now, listen, you can try Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199. I'm telling you, you can afford to have this in your home. Go to theragun.com/lovin right now, and you can get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's theragun.com/lovin, theragun.com/lovin. So yeah, tell me about these bands because every time I've worked out with a trainer, they all put so much focus on this. And I'm telling you, when I'm walking around, I don't feel like anything's tight until I do certain movements.
Mhm.
But apparently that's really like important in my long-term health or something.
So when
IT bands, what
your
are they?
IT band,
IT bands.
okay, yeah, your IT band is actually a ligament, and um, a ligament. You have to be really careful with a ligament and like massaging it or stretching it, but you want to focus around the muscles around it. So
Mhm.
for you, the outside of your thigh, which is going to be like the abductor muscles, your lateral quad, so it's the quad that's basically to the side of your leg, that then wraps into the hamstring. Those are going to be muscles that are essentially tight on you.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be different.
Is
So
it because I'm tall?
Um, it has to do essentially what plays a part in it is your feet patterns. So if you tend
Oh,
to be a person that uses the outside of your feet, like the outside of the foot, you put pressure on the outside
I
a
think
little
I
bit
am.
more, then that's going to affect kinetically everything getting tight on the outside of the leg. For people that pronate, so their heel goes or their foot goes more
Or in?
inward whenever they're walking, typically all of the inside muscles are going to be tighter because the pressure that you're putting on the foot, it shoots up to the body. So essentially those muscles are the ones that are taking the most stress during the movement of your feet. So a lot of it actually begins in your foot and learning how to have a neutral foot pattern. Um, and those are things that, we can talk about like in a session with our
Mhm.
clients. But
Everything is connected through the feet.
It really is. Everything, you're
You go to
squatting,
those
you're
feet therapy
lunging.
places and they're like, "Oh, there's your kidney and stuff." And I'm like, "How does this work?" The body's so crazy,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And what's interesting too is that you doing little foot exercises, there's different exercises that you can do like with your toes, with curling, with stretching, that can make a world of a difference when it comes to squatting and
Yeah.
lunging.
Sometimes I think certain things I do, and I'm not a trainer, but I've worked out a lot over the years, but it's just like instinctual. It's like I know rolling my foot over a tennis ball is going to be feeling really good right now. It's just like some things you just instinctively know to do to make yourself feel better.
Because you feel that pressure in that area and you just want to get relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, there's so much. I mean, seriously, a good trainer is going to get you right, not just go through the motions, get that check at the end of the hour, and next. They really want to work with you to like get your patterns right, to do the exercises right, so you don't blow out a knee, you don't throw out your back later on. So how do you know? I mean, if I went to a gym and just say, "Hey, I'd like a personal trainer," they probably just go down the list and say whoever's next on the list, and that's your trainer.
Yeah. I think one
But
of the
what do you have as a
most
right as a client to ask for? You know?
So I think the things that you should look for, I mean, you can always ask for education. However, I think that education is not always going to translate into the experience, right? Because you can have someone that has all the book knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to apply that to a person by person situation, you're not going to be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things to at least pay attention to whenever you are interviewing a trainer is you want to see if they are asking questions about you. Are they asking about your fitness goals? Are they asking about why these goals are important to you? Are they asking about what your current lifestyle is? Are you working out? Are you not working out? Are they asking about the foods that you're eating? If they're trying to get to know you and what makes your personal life healthy, non-healthy, whatever the case is, that's actually a really good indicator because what they're doing is they're really trying to identify where you fall on the scale of health
Mm-hmm.
and what they can do to get you to the place of where you want to be. So they should constantly be asking you questions. If you have a trainer that is, they're taking you in, they're reading whatever questionnaire it is that you ask, and then they're taking you right into a workout, chances are they do not have the experience to really individualize and tailor a program for you because they're not asking those questions, right?
Right.
I can't get to know you personally and what makes you tick unless I ask you who you are, where you're from, what are you doing, why do you do what you do. You have to ask those questions. That's how
Mm-hmm.
we get to know each other. So that's going to be the first thing. The second thing too is whenever they're taking you through a workout, once they've completed that aspect, if they are not making adjustments in your actual workout itself, if they're not identifying, you know what, this exercise is probably too advanced or is too hard for them, or you know what, I see their mechanics aren't great, let me make an adjustment.
Yeah.
And you can at least feel in yourself like this is really hard. Like I feel like I don't even think I can make it through this exercise. And they're not picking up on that, then that's also not a good
Yeah,
sign.
I've noticed that about you and your other trainers that have worked with me. It's like y'all will stop me in the middle, like, "No, dude, we're going to change it right now." Because either you see that I'm struggling a little bit more than I should be. A little struggle is good,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but also if I'm struggling to a point where like this isn't good, or if I'm doing it wrong and you can see I'm about to hurt myself, you'll stop me midstream. And I'm like, "Thank you, Lord," and
Absolutely.
let's do something else. So
Yeah.
that's something because everybody's not the same.
Exactly. Everyone is they are unique. There and that's one of the things that it's really important and a good trainer is going to be able to do. They really do have to tailor the programming to the person that they're dealing with. You have to know your audience, right? And if there's one thing that is completely inconsistent when it comes to this particular industry, it's human behavior. Like you're just dealing with different variables when you're taking on a client who's human. You got to be able to identify whatever their strengths and their weaknesses are right away so that
Mhm.
you can tailor to them. And really, the goal is to create a long-term success for this person. Most people are coming to people like us because they've tried it on their own and they're not able to do it.
Yeah.
So they're looking for the expertise, they're looking for the knowledge, they're looking for the encouragement, they're looking for the motivation.
The
You have to be
accountability.
able all and the accountability. You got to be able to encompass all of those things. So, that's why I say if someone has the credentials but they don't have the ability to deal with people, they're probably not going to be a good trainer. And so those are things that I would say you want to look for right away. Are they
Mhm.
asking questions about you? If they're taking you through some type of assessment, are they making adjustments right on the spot because they're seeing that something is a struggle for you or something is being done incorrectly? And then I think the final thing is, are they personable enough where you feel comfortable with them? Essentially, you want to feel comfortable with the person that
Yeah.
you're training with, right? Like, people buy from people that they like. Fitness, like when you're talking about our bodies, like that's a personal thing for us. Most people that come into the gym or that even come to me, like, they're not completely comfortable with coming in and talking about like, "Hey, I wanna lose 20 pounds." A
Mhm.
lot of people are feeling bad about themselves. They're feeling like, "How did I let myself get this far?" So they could be in a semi-negative state or in a pessimistic state,
Just
and
so
if
emotional,
you are
really.
not, like, feeding that in a positive way, then you're not really doing your job as a trainer. You're
Mhm.
supposed to encourage them and kind of help them feel better about themselves mentally and emotionally before they even start seeing the results.
Yeah.
So if you have a trainer that's just like, "Yeah, you definitely have to lose that weight."
Oh, no.
That's not gonna help the
Tell me I'm
situation.
pretty. Now, it's not just about the workout, it's also about the nutrition.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know a lot of, there's so many options out there. And I know right now, intermittent fasting is huge. And I don't really understand that completely because some people fast 16 hours, some people fast. I just don't even understand, it's certain hours you can eat and you could eat whatever the heck you want. And some people are like, no, you can't eat whatever you want. You have to eat certain things. And then there's also, we hear a lot about macro diets. Like I was talking to some girl like a couple weeks ago. She's like, I'm doing the macros. I'm doing my macros. I'm like, well, what does that even mean? And, there's the Atkins diet. There's, these home delivery meal services, Nutrisystem and things we see, Weight Watchers. So, I mean, what are your opinions on the diet fads and what's going on right now? Because I think with you and me, we talked about macronutrients.
We did talk about it.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and that was what
absolutely.
you prefer that?
I think essentially when you are kind of the average person, you have a corporate job or you have a job where you're working 8 hours a day. You come home, you either have a family or you have other responsibilities. It's not your passion to go out and like run 2 or 3 miles every single day, but for you, it's like you just want to live a healthy life. You want to make sure that your overall health is good. Maybe work out because you understand the importance of exercise, but you're
Mhm.
not trying to be the next athlete. Macronutrients are always going to be the best way to go. Essentially, what macronutrients are, it's basically the quality of the food of what you're eating. So protein, fats, carbs, that's essentially sugars. That's essentially what you're going to find in all healthy food and all natural food. Processed food, it's a whole nother ball game. But when we're trying to focus on eating healthy and making a healthy lifestyle with the way that we eat things, it's really going to boil down to what is the quality of the food that you're eating. And when you're looking at the quality of the food, the things that you're essentially looking at is what's the protein, what's the starch or the complex carb in it, what's the fat in it, and then based on that, you're making an assessment. Now, everybody's macronutrients are going to be different. There's not a one size fits all. There really isn't. Essentially, other variables that are going to play a part in it is going to be how active are you. If you're someone that you're not really active, you just want to eat to be healthy, well, then you're not going to have a really high carb count. You're gonna lower your carb intake, but you're still gonna take in carbs, but you're gonna take in higher protein. Typically, 40
Mhm.
to 50% of your diet is gonna be protein, and then more like 10 to 30% or 10 to 20% is gonna be your fats, and then you keep it super low on the carb side. If you're active, then you're gonna be a little bit higher on the carbohydrate intake. Carbohydrate essentially, and I think this is the reason why the Atkins diet is not something that I would recommend to people. Carbohydrates is an energy source. And when it comes to the way that our body breaks down food, um, carbohydrate is a food that our body will break down and transfer into energy pretty quickly. So if you're working out and you're trying to you're trying to be active at least 3 to 4 days a week, then carbohydrates is going to be essentially beneficial for you. Um, but and then for people that are super active, like their
They're doing
carbohydrate intakes,
triathlons and stuff.
triathlons, marathons, stuff like that, their carbohydrate count is going to be between like 40 to 50% of their diet. But essentially with the macro diet, the best way for you to determine what your macros are going to be, there's online calculators that you can go to. There's even one that if people were interested, they can email me and I can submit the actual link of the ones that we use. But it takes all of the information in play for you to get accurate macronutrient counts. You need to count your age, your physical activity, what your body fat is, what you want your goal body fat to be, how many days a week you're working out, the stress of that working out. Like, is it a light workout? Is it a moderate workout? Is it an intense workout? If you're doing cardio, like all of these factors are going to play a role in what your macro count is.
That's a lot.
So yeah, if you're wanting to get like an exact amount of like what that is, you can do a macro like calculator. Otherwise, I would say that if you're working out like at least 3 days a week, and your workouts are going to be like a moderate, light to moderate, you want to be in at least 30 to 35% protein. That's going to be really important. 25 to 35% carbs, and then 15 to 30% fat.
Oh, that seems like a lot of fat to me. But people can't get past the fact that fat is actually good for you.
So fat is good for you.
And I think that if you don't get enough fat, your skin suffers, your joints suffer. I mean, your hair suffers. You need good
fat is
fat.
essential. It's not just so fat is not only good for like brain and heart health, but it's also really good for your joints if you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps with lubrication of the joints. And so if you're adding stress to your joints by weight training, which is what we all essentially do if you are weight training, then it would behoove you to take in essential fats because that's going to be good for you. But it also plays a huge role in brain health and heart health. And
well, I had a doctor tell me, he's like, look, he's like, you just got to face the fact. Once you turn 40, you cannot eat carbs. He's like, you cannot eat carbs and lose weight. He said, now I'm not telling you can't have a piece of cake on your birthday. He said, but you cannot eat carbs. But that was, one doctor's opinion. But
doctors
you
do not know what.
well, not when it comes to nutrition, I guess, because
So general practitioners are mainly doctors that they take your weight, they take your your blood pressure, they take like all of the important vitals, and they have a very textbook understanding of what is good and not good when it comes to hormones, blood work, all of that stuff. They take maybe like one class in nutrition, and that's like pre-med, and then after that they never touch diet again. So unless they have a specific certification in that, they're not going to be the best person to go to. Yeah, they're not.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend.
Because I really like carbs. It's like my favorite.
Now remember, there's also like good carbs and bad carbs.
Yeah.
So you have like our complex carbs, your sweet potatoes, your red potatoes, your rice, your quinoa, legumes, like those are all good carbs and those are good energy sources. The only thing is when it comes to carbs, you essentially want to take that in the beginning of the day. You don't want to take it towards the end of the day. Because again, carbohydrate is an energy source. If you're taking in energy and then you're going to bed, that's what makes it turn into fat.
Well, a lot of people, like when I was growing up with my mom, which, I've had my issues with dieting and weight for years. My mother and I would diet together and we would count calories, and it didn't matter what it was. Well, we could eat whatever we wanted, but when we hit our calorie count, we were done eating for the day. Is there any good in that? I mean, as long as it's a healthy calorie count, does it matter what the calorie is?
So no, actually that's probably one of the fads of the past, where we know now that telling somebody to count their calories is never going to be a good thing, because if you say, hey, okay, you're good if you have a 1,500 calorie diet. Well, if you don't have any type of guideline of what that 15 calories should look like, which is where macros step in, someone can have a 1,500 calorie diet of sugar.
Yeah.
And, they're just like, well,
you wouldn't lose
my
weight?
Calorie count. So
but would you lose weight?
No,
you just wouldn't be healthy.
You'd actually like gain weight from that.
Yeah. See, that was my mentality, was counting calories growing up.
And that was like a big thing. Like, I want to say 10 years ago, it was.
Honey, it was more than 10 years ago. I'm 54.
Well, I remember I've been training for like 17 years. And I remember when I first came, like within the first 5 years of training, that was something that we were taught too. And it wasn't until I took extensive classes in nutrition and understanding how
Yeah.
things work that I understood like, oh, well, it's actually about the quality of food, not necessarily the quantity of it.
Every
But
day
most
for
people get
lunch.
taught that.
Every day for lunch, we'd have cheese nabs and a Diet Pepsi. Those peanut butter and cheese crackers and Diet Pepsi. I vividly remember that. That was our lunch. And then we'd have like a frozen diet entree. We lived on those. But then you got the sodium counts and all that stuff. And they're very high in carbs too. So, I mean, I've been all over the place. But right now, I know because on the Kid Craddock Morning Show, we talk to Dr. Oz every week. And he's a big proponent of intermittent fasting. And my husband, Alan, is trying that right now, which I don't know. I find it kind of difficult because I love going out to eat. I'm very social. And who's going to eat dinner by 6 o'clock unless you're, 70 years old? You know? So it's like, okay, so he's going to eat with this 8-hour window. So he tries to say, okay, well, we're going to go out tonight and we're probably not going to eat till 8 o'clock. So he has to say, okay, I can only eat between the hours of noon and 8. And it's like, but then on the weekends, he's playing with it.
Mhm.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Well, my personal thoughts on it is I don't think it's a bad option if you're trying to maybe switch your habits altogether. So the purpose of intermittent fasting is when you're taking time off from not eating, but you're going throughout your day, you're forcing your body to burn all of your sugar, go through your sugar storage, which we all have some, and then switch immediately into your fat storage, which is called metabolic switching. Now, the philosophy behind that is that we evolved into being the type of people that needed to eat every several hours. If you look at prehistoric times and the times of our ancestors, they were essentially hunters before they even became hunters and are farmers and everything of that nature. They were hunters. And so they would sometimes they would go days without eating
Mm-hmm.
because of the whole catch and hunting. That was like a huge ordeal. And we essentially became a society that got into, oh, we have to eat every couple of hours or we can't go a long time without eating. So we have it within us to go long periods of time without eating. We've just, with the combination of societal changes as well as becoming a society that's the most sedentary that we've ever been,
Yeah.
that we have the quality of things that we eat. We always have more than enough food. And then the food that we have is typically really high in sugar, especially if you're eating out. Intermittent fasting really helps with depleting those storages and kind of switching your body into the fat burning zone. So it can be good as like a temporary switch. I wouldn't recommend it as a long-term switch, especially if you're working out. So typically whenever you work out, you want to eat anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after you've worked out. If you're a person you work out at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and then you're on intermittent fasting and you don't eat until 11 a.m., you're actually doing more damage to your body than good because you're allowing your body to deplete itself since you're not replenishing it. So there's definitely a way that you have to follow intermittent fasting, but it's a good switch up for people, that want to have like a change or maybe even want to discipline their body a little bit more. I just wouldn't recommend it as like a long-term thing.
Because I've heard some people say you could eat whatever you want as long
that's
as
the
you
other
eat within
thing.
this hour period and you're
No,
going to lose weight. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so that's the other thing too, and I didn't think about it until you brought it up. So once you do start eating, then you have to make sure that the quality of food that you're eating is going to be really nutritious on the macro side. Because if you're like doing there's like two different types of fast. There's the 16-8, and then there's the 5 days,
I
2
think-
off.
Yeah. Okay. Because I've heard of that one too. I think Alan's trying the 16-8 right now.
Yeah, and that's the most common one.
Yeah.
If in the 8 hours you're having like a nachos, cheeseburger, then you're really defeating the whole purpose because you're not eating the right macronutrients, which essentially is going to fill your body up with the sugar that you're essentially trying to deplete. And you're repeating the cycle again of, well, I have to deplete my sugar before I get into the fat burning zone. But then as soon as I'm eating, I'm replenishing my sugar all over again. So it would be a yo-yo cycle, which really wouldn't give you the results. You have to make sure you're eating the right
It
stuff.
sounds like. And you're doing the 5 and 2. Is that where you just like super, super clean for 5 days and then all hell breaks loose for 2?
So you basically just eat like how you would normally would. Of course, it has to be healthy food, right? But you're eating for 5 days, just normal, your 3 meals, snacks if you have it. But then you have 2 days where you're just you're keeping it between a 5 to 600 calorie restricted
Oh,
day. So then it's like maybe just one meal and then you don't eat. So that's the other
wow.
type of intermittent fasting that you can do.
Wow. And what a lot of trainers I know, and a lot of, if you're doing the macro diet or whatever, they're saying you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours because you're keeping your furnace going.
Mm-hmm.
Is that more beneficial than doing an intermittent fast?
Honestly, it really does depend on the body type. So there's some people that they can eat 3 square meals, and that is enough for them to either have maintenance or to get to the goal
They
that
don't
they
need those
want.
snacks because you always hear 3 meals and 2 snacks.
So, and honestly, the 3 meals and the 2 snacks really has to do more with how active you are. If you're a person that you're not very active, you sit down more than you stand up, it's better just for you to do 3 square meals. And then maybe if you have, a snack, that's okay, so long as the snack is nutritious. But that's one of the reasons, that's actually the other reason why intermittent fasting is recommended. We as a society, we graze a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll just snacking here and there because we're bored, because we don't have much to do. So there's a psychological aspect of it as well as kind of changing the habits of what we're used to doing. But, essentially, if you can have like full meals and have the right nutrients in it, like make sure that you're eating good carbs, having a good amount of protein, you can have fats maybe towards the end of the day. That's going to give you a whole lot more energy and a whole lot more result in the long term than if you were just like snacking here and there. Now, for people that are active or people that are trying to speed up their metabolism,
Yeah.
not all body types need to do that. Really,
Mm.
only certain body types. But for people that are active, they're a little bit older, they're trying to be active and they're also trying to speed up their metabolism. Snacking, meals and snacks can be beneficial because it's helping keep your body in that burning zone.
Mhm.
But that really is only beneficial for certain body types. Not
Okay.
everyone needs to do that.
So I guess the thing you need to go is to be evaluated by somebody.
Yeah, I think that's
By
going to
you, we're
be.
talking about. Go be evaluated by Stephany. But see, a lot of people are listening to me, Stephany. Now she's got a gym. It's called Elevate Fitness. It's in Dallas, but they're listening to us in Louisiana, or they're listening to my family back home in South Carolina. Are you able? I mean, I know you pivoted and you were doing at home workouts for people then, but if they're like, well, what do I? How can they? How can you help them if they're not in the Dallas area?
So we actually have a couple of options. We have still continued to do virtual training. We specifically have virtual classes that we offer, and that's been a really good community of people because these are people that, they wanted to stay motivated to some degree during the quarantine. And then because of the community that we created, they just want to have the community of
Yeah.
working out. So, that's a way that you can connect with us. And we really do have like the best clients on there. And then the other thing that is actually pretty exciting for me is that we're going to be launching a fitness app. So our
Oh,
fitness app will be available internationally. And,
that's awesome.
the goal is to essentially, what we talked about, being able to identify someone's fitness level and bring them, work with them on their fitness level and then slowly progress them. We're basically translating that into an app. And I think that that's probably one of the things you don't see a lot of is that, when people are downloading apps, it's either these athletes or these people that have been training for a long time. And they're just like, okay, this is where you start. This is beginner. But the truth is, if they never met you, how do they really know that that's the right
Yeah.
beginner level? The only way that you can do it is by assessing and making sure.
Your app's going to be
So
able to assess where
my
we
app
are.
will be able to assess.
How long do we have to wait for the app?
It should be out actually by the end of April, beginning of May.
Okay, well, let me know when it's out so I can tell everybody.
That would be great.
But it's not, I mean, I would say tell the name now, but there's no need in doing that because it's not available, right?
No, it's not available right now, but maybe you could have me and we can talk about
Okay,
it.
we'll do that because that'd be fun because I love the thing about apps is Alan has I can't do it. He can take what's on my phone and throw it up on the TV, so I have a big screen and I can work out like that.
Mhm.
Because I think working out with your phone, I guess some people can do it, but
Some people have been, yeah, they
yeah,
go. I mean, I'm amazed by people that I see in the gym that are like looking at the phone, recreating the exercise.
Yeah.
And going back, looking at the phone, recreating the
Yeah.
exercise.
Well,
So for some people, it works for them.
it does. Everybody adapts, and some people are better at apps than others. Let me tell you. Oh, Stephanie, let me tell you about another app that you're going to want to download.
Tell me.
Because I know you can't always be working out. Sometimes you need some downtime. You need to give yourself like a little break just for some fun, just to release the stress.
Definitely need a de-stressor, yes.
Have you heard of Best Fiends?
Best Fiends.
Yes.
Tell me
Listen,
more.
Stephany. Okay. Every night when I'm going to bed, everybody that listens to the podcast knows this. What does my husband say to me? Because I'm in bed before he is. He sees me with that little glow coming off my phone. He says, "Get it, babe. Kill them slugs," because he knows I'm playing Best Fiends. It's the way I wind down. It's a fun little game. It's a puzzle game that you have to solve to get to the different levels. And I mean, millions of us are playing right now. Why have you not joined? Every time I go out now, somebody that I run into in the podcast family, they say, "Kellie, I'm on level 497 because of you." And I love hearing that because we have so much fun playing Best Fiends and now comparing levels. It's a cute little game where there's these little bugs and these little characters you collect, and your goal is to defeat the slugs to get to the next level. But because so many of us are playing Best Fiends and we're getting so darn good at it, the thing is, they keep adding levels every day. So you're never going to run out. That's the worst feeling in the world. It's like, I love this game so much and now it's over. It's like your favorite thing you're binging on Netflix, right? And it's finally over. With Best Fiends, you never have to worry about that because it has thousands of levels plus new content added all the time. And you don't have to be a hardcore gamer to love it. This is kind of a casual game. I can play it when I'm just literally standing in the line at the grocery store. I'm like, oh, this line's taking a while. Let me pull out and just play Best Fiends. It's really a lot of fun. So if you love solving puzzles, if you can be slightly obsessed like I am, and you want to play along with me, download Best Fiends free today on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R, Best Fiends. And Stephanie's literally downloading
it right now.
Okay.
It's asking for my age. Do I lie?
It's free though. Don't worry about it. It's free to download. You can, okay. So Stephany, that's a good, every once in a while you have to give yourself a brain break, and it's, working out, eating right, having a little fun. It's all about balance, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing we need to, moving forward in 2021, we're coming out of a really dark time.
Mm-hmm.
And like Stephany and I were talking a little bit beforehand, everything is so negative and divided right now. Everybody's so angry. And I think we got to just, sometimes you got to learn to step away from Twitter. I tell my husband every once in a while, you got to turn off Fox News for a minute because it just gets you all riled up.
It does. Yeah.
It's not good for our health. I know when I get stressed, what I want to do, I want to shove carbs in my face and I plop myself down on the couch. And these are not good things. So I am not, I'm not this like big, okay, here we go. I'm running a marathon this year. That's not me. But I do have to make some changes because, I think it's better for, like I said, I'm going through a little crisis here. I'm in a bit of a funk. I like to call it the mully grubs, but apparently nobody knows what that is. Every time I say it, I'm in the mully grubs, like, what are you talking about? Is that a South Carolina thing?
I think at least 3 times you have said words that I'm like, I've never heard of that before.
I've got the mully grubs. I don't even know where it came from. It must have been from somebody in the South. But, you're just a little down, And I was telling Stephany too, nobody wants to hear when you're down. It's like, oh, here comes Kellie again. She's going to tell me she's in the mully grubs, and I still don't know what that means.
Oh, that's terrible.
But no, it's true though. You got to, there comes a time, we all go through periods where we're feeling good about ourselves, periods where we don't feel so great. But, there comes a time where you're like, okay, it's time to snap out of it and do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of you are probably feeling that way too. Here we are. It's March. It's been a year since we all got coronavirus shut down. You know what's coming up in July? The podcast family vacation. And you know what I'm going to be wearing? I'm going to be wearing a bathing suit in front of all you people. And I want to look, I don't want to look like Christy Brinkley or anything. Everybody's like, why'd you pick Christy Brinkley?
Of all people.
Of all people. Because she's like 60 something and she still looks better than me. It's not like I even want to be that. But I want to be the best version of me, right? And I've not got delusions of what, I'm not going to be like these girls I see on Instagram, but the best version of me. I want to feel good, for myself and for my husband I just want to feel good. So for those people who are like in the boat like me, Stephany, and we want to get started, What can we do? Help me out here.
So I think the biggest thing too, when it comes to making the decision that you want to start a program, you have to make sure that you are going to be committed. I think most people, because of their unrealistic idea of what getting to their goal is going to look like, when they don't see results right away, they quit.
Yeah,
And
that's me.
it's,
I'm a quitter. Stephany, I am a quitter, and I acknowledge that, and I admit it. I quit a lot.
you know what though? I will say, when you were training with me, you trained with us for a long
I
time.
did, and then
And if
I
it wasn't for it was the stress of what you were dealing with at work. And the truth is, listen, I get it, because I deal with people that have careers that are at the top of their game. And sometimes when it becomes overwhelming, you just mentally cannot
short
wrap your
circuit.
head around, like, I have to make this happen.
Yeah.
So you're understanding of that. But I think, especially with a lot of our clients, at some point when things die down, it's just like, oh man, I need to do that again. And,
Yeah.
and like right now, you're just like, we have the podcast in July. I want to make sure that I look
I want to be
okay.
cute.
So you're circling back around to the idea of like, okay, I need to make this
It's
a priority.
time.
And
It's
that's
time.
good. The biggest thing is, make sure that when you make that decision to get onto a program that's going to make you healthier, fitter, whatever the case may be, your goal is, I'm sticking to this for a minimum of 90 days. If you cannot stick to the program for 90 days, if you cannot already have it in your mind, this is something that I'm doing 90 days, then you're already going to lose, because it takes 90 days just to create a habit. If you're not trying to at least create the habit, how are you actually going to get the results?
Yeah.
The results come with you being consistent with the following areas: exercise, eating, all of those things. And here and there was one thing that I actually heard a fitness expert say that I was like, you know what, this might be really good. Every time that you have a good day where you've eaten everything you needed to eat, you got some activity in, and mind you too, activity doesn't always need to be an hour of working out. Maybe it's just 20 minutes of doing something.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just going for a 15-minute walk. It doesn't have to be every single day I need to go into the gym and weight train, because that can fall under the lines of unrealistic goals. But every time that you've done something good, you had a good day where you did a little bit of activity, you ate everything good, give yourself a star. And anytime that you didn't do good, okay, give yourself a sad face, or give yourself a circle.
I'm
But
gonna have a chart.
pay attention. And really, it's not about here's the thing, it's not about making sure, like, okay, is this a good day or a bad day? No, it's about you at least holding yourself accountable to, okay, how frequently am I really doing good, how frequently am I really doing bad? Because most people, they don't think about, okay, am I eating okay? Am I drinking a lot of water? They don't think about that. They go into the gym and then they're out and about in their day. But if you really want to make a change, if you really want to see results that are going to last,
Yeah.
all of those things have to play a factor. And if you're at least 85% good of that 90 day, then you're going to see results.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 100%.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
You're going to have bad days. We're going to have stressful days where we're just like, you know what? I need a burger, or I need to have a couple of glasses of champagne. This is a tough day. But nonetheless, as long as 85% of the time you were doing good, you're still going
Yeah.
to see results from
Because
that.
it is hard, because Alan and I are we're social people, and that's been a big problem, because you go out and you want to have a couple cocktails, and guess what happens when you have a cup of cocktails? It's like, you want chips, you want salt, you want crunch, and then whatever program you're on goes out the window,
Mhm.
And you do that too much. So
And then you feel bad about it.
Yeah.
So one day turns into like 3 days of just not really caring,
And then,
because you're already
okay,
messed up.
then I'm just going to keep doing this till Monday, because I'm going to start over. And
Exactly.
then it never
Exactly.
happens.
So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes maybe it helps to have a day where you're just like, okay, this is a good one. Okay, this is a bad one. Tomorrow I got to be on top of it, because maybe it helps you accountable to pay attention to that. Most people
Yeah.
really just don't pay attention. It's like, I'm in the gym, I'm out of the gym, I'm not paying attention to anything else. And like, your health is not just being physically active, but making sure you're eating the right quality stuff, making sure you're getting the right amount of sleep, make sure
That's
that you're drinking.
huge.
It's so
I think that's
huge.
been a huge problem for me too. I'm playing too much Best Fiends at night. That's what it is.
I
No,
try to cut
I am
phone at
sleep
least 30 minutes
deprived. I am
before.
sleep deprived. I remember many, because I get up such a stupid hour every day, but I love my job and I'm not gonna, one day I'm gonna be able to sleep as late as I want. But I remember I was one of these morning show people like oh God, her name just escapes me right now. But she did like the Today Show for years and years and years. And she said when she finally quit that job, she said she couldn't stop sleeping. She just slept and slept and slept for like this went on for a couple 3 months.
Wow.
And she said finally the doctor told her, he said, "You've been so sleep deprived. Sleep is like he said you have to think of it like a bank and like you're putting in deposits and taking withdrawals." And he said you've been withdrawing for years and years and now you're trying to catch up. And so she said after about it took her about 3 months of finally getting to where she was just her natural body clock kicked in and she was
Wow.
sleeping, because sleep deprivation is a huge problem, I think,
It absolutely is.
for me, and I'm sure for a
For a
lot of
lot of
people.
people. No, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
People that suffer from depression, people that suffer from anxiety, sleeping is like
Brain
a
fog.
really big it's a really big issue.
Like, I know a lot of times people I don't have a lot of Alzheimer's in my family, but I do have some, and I get where I forget things but I find that if I just go, like, on a week vacation and I'm sleeping, suddenly my memory is better and
Mhm.
those kind of things, so I don't know if it's necessarily that I've got the Alzheimer's gene or anything, or if I just need a nap.
No, sleep is sometimes it can be a very huge role in that.
Yeah, we just gotta find balance, and we're gonna screw up sometimes, but I think that's the overall message, I think,
I
that
think 2021 needs to be the year of finding the balance,
yeah.
right? You don't wanna be like, "Okay, it's gonna be a balance here." It's just like, "Okay, I need to find that." And it might take a month, it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, but
Well, I
that's
better
part of the
figure it out by
thing.
July. I wanna be cute.
That's why you're coming back to Elevate.
That's right, I know. So listen, so if you do want to follow Stephany and, keep up with everything going on at Elevate Fitness, maybe if you're looking for a gym and you don't wanna go to one of those where there's like, the 100 people in there and all the treadmills and stuff, and you want a more boutique experience. When I say boutique, that sounds like so frou-frou and fancy. I don't mean that. It's just personal.
Yeah.
Like when I go, it's usually it was always fun when I go in there, there'd be some listeners in there.
Mhm.
And usually when I go in there, there'd be maybe 4 or 5 people maximum training
Yeah.
and you're doing your own thing and you don't feel less than because, some people go in there, it's like a fashion show at the gym sometimes, and they're just showing off and
And we love them
it's not a big
too.
pickup spot. It's not a pickup
No, it's
spot where you have
not.
to worry about that. But that's what Elevate Fitness is, and it's very conveniently located, like, literally, like, in Dallas, right off LBJ and Preston Road,
And
if you're familiar with the area. So it's like the people in Plano and stuff, it's not too far for you. The people down in South Dallas, is really not too far for you. It's a nice little in-between area, Elevate Fitness. And Stephany, how many trainers do you have working with you right now?
I have 4 trainers working with me right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, so it's just a small little family operation. So you get to know everybody and it becomes like just like our little podcast family. You have your little gym family there.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. The team of trainers has really become like a family, and our clientele has become like a family. And that's the atmosphere that I essentially want to create, because people, I mean, when it comes to taking that step, not everyone's confident about that. And
Yeah.
so you want to have a team of people that are just like, "Hey, you got this and we're going to help you." And it's okay with every single step that you take. There's no right or wrong. It's really just getting you better and making you the best version of
Yeah.
yourself.
And now that the restrictions are starting to lift and everything, and you feel, I mean, they'll still keep you safe. They're still taking all the
Absolutely. We're
precautions.
taking all those
I mean, if you thought the
precautions.
gym was clean before,
Before and after
you could
every
lick those
session.
dumbbells now. They're so clean.
And we
But
still, for people that if they feel comfortable or they would prefer us wearing a mask, then we'll wear a mask
yeah.
for them. It really is about helping them feel safe.
Right. So whatever you need. So if you want to get in contact with Stephany, you can follow you on Instagram.
Yes, Elevate Fitness Now is our Instagram name. ElevateFitnessNow.com is our website. And I mean, you can pretty much Google Elevate Fitness and we are just going to pop up right
Yeah,
there.
Elevate Fitness in Dallas. And Stephany, you compete in bodybuilding. Have you I mean, I know everything kind of went out the window. Are
It
you still
really
doing
did go
that?
out the window. You know what? I definitely have it in mind to do it. It's getting mentally motivated like everybody
Everything.
else just
Yeah.
to take that to the next
Because
level.
that if you've ever like you see some of these women like I don't know why this is the second time I'm bringing up the Real Housewives, but if you watch Real Housewives of New Jersey,
Yeah.
and remember Teresa,
Teresa,
when
she
she
competed.
was in prison, she started doing yoga, and then she decided she wanted to get certified in yoga when she got out. And then her husband was in prison; they're since divorced. She started doing bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of women, and she was in her 40s when she did
Yeah.
that. And so that, if you're a woman, you're like, hey, I might be interested in some of that. I know you do it, or you did do it. Do you,
Yeah.
do you train other people who want
We
to get into
actually
that?
do. Yeah. We
That
do.
intense?
We have one client. She has been with us for 2 years already. And she does figure or not figure. She does bikini. And so we have been training her every single year for bikini, and she's going to be training this year too. So yeah, we do
So
have
whatever your
clients on
goals
that level.
are, if you want to be a female bodybuilder, male bodybuilder. Why am I talking about women too? You train men too.
Yeah.
And whatever your goals are, if you just want to go on the podcast family vacation and say, Kelly, I want to look cute with you. Stephany, anyone at the Elevate Fitness gym, elevatefitnessnow.com,
Mm-hmm.
can help you reach your goals, set you up with a nutrition plan,
Yep.
set you up with a workout plan,
Macronutrients. Yep.
and even like work in a little glass of champagne every once in a while
Once we reach a goal,
once you reach your goal.
we'll have champagne popping bottles.
Right. Now, Stephany, we're all over the place. Is there anything before we wrap up the podcast that you wanted to make sure it's like, oh, we didn't get to that? I want to give you opportunities or something we missed that you wanted to make sure we touched on?
No, I think we talked about it all. I think my biggest desire as a fitness expert is seeing the effect that lockdowns had on people this past year, working with clients and some of the emotional issues, the mental issues that they were really struggling with. And, even with what you said, you have some issues of your own, but you don't want to talk about it because people don't want to hear your problems. It's like, that's essentially what we were dealing with. It's like, we see people that we care about that are struggling, and not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And we want to work through that. And for me, as a person that's been in the industry for 17 years, it's like, you know what, this is a big problem. And I want to be able to help as many people as I can to work through those mental and emotional problems so that they're on the other side of it and they feel like they're a better version of themselves. So if that's something that people are struggling with, I would encourage them to set up a consultation. We can just talk about it. We can basically talk about how exercise does benefit it. And even if we need to walk through the mental aspect of what are you struggling with? What's your thought process on that? What can we do to improve the thought process so that you feel better about yourself? That's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've been able to do in this past year with our clients. So I would love if there's more people that are struggling with that and have that need, that we would be able to fill it.
All right, Stephany, before we let you go, is there anything special that you would like to offer to our podcast family?
Absolutely, Kelly. So with all of the conversation we were talking about on picking a good trainer, picking someone that's really going to have your goals in mind, I have decided that I will offer an intro personal training package. So it's just basically let's get you up and going. Let's get you on a path to where you're actually starting your programming, and you're starting to at least work on those results. And normally 4 sessions is what we start out with our intro package. That normally goes for $350, but we're going to offer it for $125 for your
Wow.
family.
That's awesome.
Because we want to be able to build that trust. I think it's really important that people feel comfortable with the trainer that they are choosing, and they feel like this person really has their best interests and their best goals in mind. And we want to make sure that we demonstrate that. And I think it'll take 1 session, but we'll
To get you
make it
hooked.
absolute in 4.
So you're going to get 4 sessions for $125?
You got it.
That's
Absolutely.
Wow, you're practically giving that away. That's
I
really
know.
a great deal. Thank you for doing that for our podcast family.
Absolutely.
So, go to just go to the website.
Yeah,
What
you
do
can go to elevatefitnessnow.com, and when you go to the contact us button, you'll actually see the booking site, and there is a tab that specifically says the 4 sessions, the intro personal training package consultation. So
Okay.
you set up for the consultation. We'll talk about your goals. You can pay for it right then and there in that first consultation, and then you'll get started with your 4 sessions.
You're not going to find a deal any better than that
Absolutely
anywhere.
not.
Okay, so just go to Elevate Fitness Now, click on the contact us.
Yes.
And then it'll show you where those 4 introductory sessions are.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, you can actually right there on the page there is a picture of the promo, so you can just go ahead
Click
and
on
click
that
on that
too.
promo and you'll be able to get to it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. 4 sessions for $125, y'all.
Absolutely. I'm excited to give it away. I want some people to really be transformed and feel like they've made a really good decision.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate
You are
it.
welcome. You got it.
All right, Stephany. Well, I think Elevate Fitness is just a great gym, and I think Stephany just does such a wonderful job. Very caring
Thank
gym, and you're
you.
not just a number there. You're not just, next. Like I said, I've been in those gyms where you just feel like you're just filling a time slot, So I really appreciate that. And thanks for coming all the way up to Plano, Texas to be on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Love having you anytime. And when your app's ready, let me know.
Okay.
So we can get everybody on board with that.
Thank you,
All right.
Kellie.
So I know Alan's having fun at Hardy. He hasn't texted me not once, so I'm sure Bad Influence Jeff is keeping him very occupied, and we'll have tons of stories to tell about that on the next podcast. Actually, the next podcast we'll be recording on the road, Stephany.
Well, I will be playing Fiends until
Best
that
Fiends?
podcast comes
Yes,
out.
Fiends
Until
without
it
the
comes
all.
out.
Best Fiends. Yeah, Alan and I are taking an RV trip.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've never been RVing before. He did it last year, so we're going to RV. So we're going to be doing the podcast on the road. You definitely want to hear next week's podcast. All right. So in the meantime, thank you, Stephany Acosta from ElevateFitnessNow.com.
I
At
appreciate it.
Elevate Fitness Now on Instagram if you want to follow Stephany there, and for the motivation. And you have lots of I even see you did like little workout demonstrations on there. There's all sorts of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Good information. But if you're looking for a trainer in the Dallas area, give them a call. All right. All right. So we'll be back this time, same night time next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me think. How does Alan wrap this up? In the immortal words of the great Keanu Reeves, life is good when you have a good sandwich. Bye. I missed Alan a lot on this podcast, but, we're going to be back together next week for more A Sandwich and Some Lovin'. But we're also going to be back for another episode of the bonus podcast, a bonus A Sandwich and Some Lovin' on the Stereo app Tuesday night at 7 Central. Now, if you haven't checked us out yet, you are missing a whole lot of fun because it's really up to you. You're actually participating in the conversation, and you can take this little bonus hour anywhere you want to go. Just check out what we did last week.
What is the best way to get my husband to get on board with me being the only disciplinary in the house? I'm the only one that will be the bad guy constantly. For example, he asked me right in front of our stepson, who's 14, if he could have his PlayStation back.
Alan, you're the man in this. So how could she get her man to be part of the punishment and not always make her the bad guy? Part of the discipline, I guess I should say, not punishment.
Yeah. Well, I think you two need to have a meeting, have a talk about how's this going to work? Because whatever you're doing right now, it sounds like it's not working the way you want it to anyway. So have a talk without the kids there, and pull your husband aside and say, look, if we're not on the same page with discipline, then they're not going to listen to me or listen to you even sometimes. We have to be coming from the same page.
So if you want to be a part of the conversation this next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central on Stereo, go download the app right now. It's absolutely free, Stereo. And then follow me at Kellie Raspberry and follow Alan at the Alonzo 1971. And we'll see you Tuesday night, 7 Central on Stereo.